On March 2, 1963, the Boutwell Auditorium in Birmingham, Alabama, transformed into a dazzling showcase, hosting the Parade of Stars. The air inside buzzed with anticipation as luminaries such as Charlie Rich, Mel Tillis, Flatt and Scruggs, Tex Ritter, Jerry Lee Lewis, Patsy Cline, and others prepared to grace the stage. This event was heralded as monumental. It was a spectacle, described by a local scribe as being big stuff. At the same time, Cowboy Copas and Hawkshaw Hawkins were not at that event or even in Alabama. That's because they were in Nashville, Tennessee, performing at the Grand Ole Opry. In fact, Hawkshaw was the host and performed the closing songs for the 8:30 and 10:45 shows. Cowboy Copas was the host and performed the closing songs for the 9 o'clock and 11:30 shows. You see, these guys were solid performers. They were famous country stars. Just as famous, if not more so, than Patsy Cline. For those who don't know, the Grand Ole Opry is a weekly country music stage concert in Nashville, Tennessee, which has played a significant role in the popularity and promotion of country music. Founded on November 28, 1925, as the WSM Barn Dance, it is among the longest-running radio broadcasts in U.S. history. The Opry showcases a mix of country music legends, contemporary chart toppers, and promising newcomers across genres, ranging from traditional country and bluegrass to Americana and folk.
Are you mine?
Yes, I am.
All the time?
Yes, I
Mine alone?
am. Yes, sirree.
All my own?
Yes, sirree. No one else will ever do. I'll be yours and I'll be true. Don't worry, dear. Have no fear, 'cause I'm yours.
Meanwhile, 750 miles away in Kansas City, the local community was looking forward to an upcoming benefit concert intended to benefit the family of the beloved KCMK radio disc jockey that they knew as Cactus Jack Cal. Unfortunately, his career took a tragic turn about 5 weeks earlier when, on January 24, 1963, his car collided with a transport truck in Independence, Missouri. The event, which was organized by promoter Hap Peebles, disc jockey Guy Smith, and country artist Billy Walker, had been looking for all sorts of ways to spark interest in the event. And so at one point the producers reached out to Patsy Cline, hoping her star power could ignite even more enthusiasm and boost further ticket sales.
Are you mine? Tell me, dear. Will I always have you here? Will the love light always shine in your heart just like in mine?
She agreed to join the lineup, alongside country stars Hawkshaw Hawkins and Cowboy Copas. The combination of all three of these icons promised to transform the benefit into a must-see event. You see, back then, country music fans knew all about those gentlemen.
I bet Sherry's making crawfish pie, waiting for me with tears in her eyes. But here I am, 20 miles from shore, I give 6 months pay for a little hero. Well, 21 days don't seem so long. I miss Sherry, I want to go home. I don't like it out here, 20 miles from shore, I give 6 months pay for a little hero. Well, 21 days don't seem so long. I miss Sherry, I want to go home. I'm way out here, 20 miles from shore, to give 6 months pay for a little hero.
Harold Franklin Hawkins, known professionally as Hawkshaw Hawkins, was born on December 22, 1921 in Huntington, West Virginia. He was a popular country music singer and guitarist with a career that began in the late 1940s. Hawkins was known for his deep voice and tall stature, standing at 6 feet 6 inches. He had several hits, including Pan American and Lonesome 77203, the latter becoming a big hit released shortly after his death. Hawkins and Patsy Cline were very good friends, and they often shared the stage at the Grand Ole Opry and other venues.
For the friends today, one we hope you'll enjoy. We recorded some time ago. This one's titled, I'll Be There, Boy. There ain't no chain strong enough to hold me. Ain't no breeze big enough to
Floyd Estelle Copas, better known as Cowboy Copas, was born on July 15, 1913, in Adams County, Ohio. He made a dramatic entrance into the country music scene with 4 top 10 hits in a row during the 1940s, and eventually found himself gracing the cover of Billboard magazine. However, his fame took a downturn for 8 years, until he made a remarkable comeback in 1960 with a chart-topping hit Alabam for 12 weeks, re-establishing himself as a leading figure in country music.
Now there comes Sal walking down the street with the rundown shoes tied on her feet. Good morning, honey. Get over there, baby. Stand over there, Sal. Well, hello, Sal. I know you with a rundown slipper and a tore-up shoe. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Alabama. This earth, I'm gonna look back till my money's worth. I'm on my way. I'm going back to Alabama. Hey, I'm going back to Alabama.
Copas and Patsy Cline were also very good friends, and they performed together on several occasions and shared connections through the country music scene.
You're my baby and I don't baby, I'm hog-tied over you. Oh, I will always remember those days hard to live, and all those things you did to me, I surely will forgive.
I remember in the haystack when you kissed me, it was fun. If only when you kissed me, you hadn't jumped up and run.
I'm hog-tied over you, I'm hog-tied over you. You're my baby and I don't baby, I'm hog-tied over you. I'm hog-tied over you. Hey!
On the morning of Sunday, March 3rd, 1963, Patsy, Cowboy, and Hawkshaw met at Cornelia Fort Air Park in Nashville, Tennessee. Because they had all performed the night before, flying to Kansas City would be the only way to get there in time for the first show at 2 p.m. that afternoon. You see, currently a drive from Nashville to Kansas City takes about 8 hours. But back in 1963, with all the back roads, it was a much longer journey. Perhaps even as long as 16 hours. And so flying there was the only feasible option. And so they all climbed aboard a single-engine Piper Comanche piloted by Patsy's manager and occasional guitarist, Randy Hughes. And flying with Randy was perfectly fine with all of them, especially Patsy. She flew in his aircraft plenty of times. Randy Hughes, was Patsy Cline's manager. He was also a country musician and the husband of Patsy's friend and fellow country singer, Kathy Hughes. Kathy was the daughter of Cowboy Copas. This connection made Randy not only a key figure in the professional lives of the artists he managed, but also intertwined with their personal lives through family ties. Randy played a pivotal role in managing Patsy's career during its peak, organizing her tours, and handling other aspects of her professional life. In an era when country musicians typically navigated through back roads and faced numerous travel difficulties, the Comanche plane offered an escape above these challenges. Randy's wife would later say that he didn't even know how to fly when he purchased the plane, but he was ambitious. As a manager with a roster of stars, he envisioned utilizing the plane extensively. Unfortunately, Randy didn't get a chance to fly as often as he would have liked. He spent only 117 hours piloting his new plane. These flights often had a business purpose, such as transporting Patsy Cline to her performances, though at times Randy would take his client to Pensacola for beach outings and relaxation. Despite a severe car accident in 1961, Patsy appeared quite comfortable flying, possibly finding the sky safer than the roads. Randy's night flying experience was minimal, with only 3 hours recorded, likely acquired during his initial flight training. Furthermore, he lacked an instrumental rating and had not undertaken any training to obtain it. But Randy was very proud of his aircraft. This 250 horsepower, retractable gear marvel was celebrated for its ability to ascend over 1,300 feet per minute, ferrying 4 passengers at a cruising speed of roughly 150 knots. Its most lauded feature was the Comanche's unparalleled range, with a full refuel of the 60-gallon tanks, promising 7 to 9 hours of airtime. Yet the complexities and high performance demands of such an aircraft necessitated a pilot's skills to be equally sophisticated. The flight to Kansas City was embroiled in treacherous weather and was a harrowing voyage through thick, oppressive clouds. Amidst the relentless grip of the flu, Patsy endured a journey marked by discomfort and unease. And so after a turbulent descent, they finally landed at Fairfax Airport at the stroke of 2 p.m. Central Time. They were then greeted by the chilling embrace of cold rain as they navigated their way from the airport to the Kansas City Memorial Hall. At this point, it's a good idea to point out that Fairfax Municipal Airport, which was first used as an airfield in 1921, is located in Kansas City, Kansas. It is not located in Kansas City, Missouri. Now this could be a bit confusing, so I'll just point out this. Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri are 2 distinct cities, located at the confluence of the Kansas and Missouri rivers. For an admission fee of $2.50, attendees of the benefit concert had the opportunity to enjoy performances by Cowboy Copas, Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, George Jones, George Riddle, Billy Walker, Dottie West, Wilma Lee, and Stoney Cooper, George McCormick, and the Clinch Mountain Boys, and more, as they performed their most popular songs. Despite battling the flu, Patsy Cline took the stage at 2 o'clock that afternoon, and again at 5:15, and then again later that evening at 8:15 p.m., with each performance drawing a full house with standing room-only crowds.
Let's have a great big welcome, if you will, for Miss Patsy Cline.
At the 2 p.m. performance, she looked dazzling in a dress adorned with sky blue tulle. For the 5:15 performance, she switched to a vibrant red dress. And for the final act, at 8:15, she chose an elegant white chiffon gown. Her voice, though strained by illness and fatigue, weaved through her repertoire of hits, with one hand pressed to her ear to capture the elusive high notes, and the other clutching a tissue. She battled through her set. Despite the struggle, she concluded with a heartfelt rendition of her latest recording from the previous month, "I'll Sail My Ship Alone." Though far from her pinnacle, the audience's reaction was one of unwavering support, a standing ovation that warmed the air. Touched by this wave of affection, Patsy approached the microphone, her voice carrying a simple yet profound message. She said, "I love you all."
And I guess that it shows. He's walking away.
Following the final show in Kansas City, George Riddle and Patsy found themselves engaged in conversation for about 30 minutes during a reception at the Townhouse Motor Hall. Their exchange was casual and lighthearted. Randy would not be able to fly his passengers home because he was not qualified to fly at night, and so they were prepared to wait until the morning. And so rather than spending any further time socializing, Patsy went up to her room to rest and to try to recover from symptoms of the flu. Unfortunately, she spent most of the night awake while coughing and sneezing. By the way, between 1951 and 1969, the 175-foot tall, 15-story building with 250 rooms stood as the tallest structure in Kansas City, Kansas. Today, it remains the highest building in the downtown area and ranks as the city's 3rd tallest overall. On Monday morning, March 4th, 1963, Patsy was still battling an illness that robbed her of her appetite, and so she declined to have any breakfast. Patsy mentioned to friends that she was not looking forward to being in that cold aircraft, but she was very eager to get home. Dottie West, ever the caring friend, proposed an alternative to the daunting prospect of air travel, a 16-hour journey back to Nashville ensconced in the relative comfort of her and her husband's station wagon. Considering her frail state and the increasingly tempestuous weather, Patsy initially conceded, recognizing the impracticality of braving the biting chill of the aircraft and the storm's fury. However, as they stood in the hotel lobby, poised to load her luggage, Patsy's resolve wavered. She said, "I'm not going to ride home in the car. I'll wait for Randy. I think I'll get home quicker." And it's perfectly understandable why she said that. The flight from Kansas City to Nashville, in a small airplane, traveling at an average speed of 170 miles per hour, would take roughly 3 hours under normal flight conditions. Dottie's pleas, citing the perilous skies, fell on deaf ears. Patsy's response silenced any further argument when she said, "When it's my time, hoss, it's my time. If that little bird goes down, I guess I'll go down with it." Throughout the day, Randy engaged in a persistent dance with the weather service. Each call, a quest for a glimmer of hope. Yet, the forecast remained grim, leading to the inevitable decision to ground the flight, postponing their departure to the following day. And so Patsy, Randy, Cowboy Copas, and Hawkshaw Hawkins all returned to spend another night at the Townhouse Motor Lodge. They were all eager to get home. Patsy, at 30, was weary after performing 4 daily shows at the Mint in Las Vegas, and she yearned to spend more time with her children, Julie, age 4, and 2-year-old Randy. Hawkins, 41, had a newborn at home, and his wife, an Opry member, was expecting their second son. He was also an equestrian enthusiast who was anxious to get home because he had a pregnant mare who was due to give birth. And of course, Cowboy Copas was eager to get home to his friends and family too. Interestingly, Hawkshaw Hawkins would have been home already had he not given his commercial airline ticket to fellow performer Billy Walker.
You would think I'm yeller, but I'm just a feller and I'm getting afraid. I think I'll leave town where I can't be found, 'cause I can't keep the girls away. Girls, girls, pretty little girls, why don't you leave me alone? I know it's fun to kiss everyone, but I gotta have peace at home. They're here all the time and I like it just fine. All I wanna do is play. Mama's gone and I'm alone and I can't keep the girls away. Mama's gone and I'm alone and I can't keep the girls away.
You see, Billy Walker, who was an Opry star, played a key role in assembling the talent for the Kansas City event, and he originally planned to return to Nashville on Randy's aircraft with Patsy and Cowboy Copas, and Hawkins was set to catch a commercial flight at 6 a.m. However, Walker received critical news on Sunday evening that his father-in-law had a heart attack in Texas, prompting an immediate need to return home. Given that a commercial flight would get him there quicker, Hawkins offered his airline ticket to Billy Walker, leaving him to fly back to Nashville with Hughes, Cline, and Copas instead. Hawkshaw Hawkins was not supposed to be on that plane. This was just another example of how his kindness and compassion and generosity led him to be on that plane.
My world, my fate is in your hands.
Throughout the morning of Tuesday, March 15th, 1963, Randy went back and forth from the airport to the motor lodge. He was happy to see that the weather had slightly improved. A weather front had passed, leaving behind a trail of showers and storms along their intended route back home. The direct flight from Kansas City to Nashville covers a distance of 472 statute miles, well within his plane's fuel capacity. However, low-hanging clouds led to a grounding of all flights, and so Randy spent the morning seeking weather updates. By midday, the cloud cover had somewhat dispersed, and the temperature climbed to 43 degrees Fahrenheit. At this point, Randy made up his mind to proceed, and so he and Patsy and Cowboy and Hawkshaw checked out of their hotel at 12:30 p.m., and they left for the Fairfax Municipal Airport in Kansas City. Once there, Randy communicated with the weather specialist, who painted a picture of the journey ahead. A path through Missouri, under VFR conditions, seemed plausible, yet the ominous front near Kentucky stretched like a barrier, promising that beyond its reach, the skies would offer nothing but hostility, far from the safe harbors of aviation's minimum standards. Visibility became Randy's paramount concern. The threat of fog, rain, clouds, or haze shrouding the window pane cast a shadow over his ability to navigate the ground or the heavens. Should his view become obscured, the delicate ballet of flight, banking, climbing, descending, would rely solely on the cryptic language of his instruments, a lexicon he had yet to master. And so, guided by the principles of visual flight rules, Randy likely found solace in the simplicity of navigating by sight alone, a method harkening back to the pioneering days of aviation. As long as the vista below remained unobstructed, the earth stretching out in a quilt of fields and rivers, the horizon serving as a steadfast guidepost, the flight should proceed with relative ease. However, the peril arises when the elements conspire to cloak the landscape, enveloping the aircraft in a shroud of uncertainty. Should Randy's gaze be robbed of the terrestrial landmarks, his equilibrium will teeter on the precipice of spatial disorientation, where the mind's compass spins wildly without the steadying hand of visual cues. In the blink of an eye, control can slip through his fingers, and the aircraft will succumb to the capricious whims of the skies. It can be a perilous dance with fate, one where the consequences of a misstep are etched in the history of aviation tragedy. Despite the repeated warnings, Randy stood resolute, poised to embark on the journey ahead. And so Randy secured another weather update at 1:22 p.m. The forecast mirrored the earlier predictions. Eddie Fisher, who ran the Eddie Fisher flying service, remembered Randy as being calm and collected, even after Fisher had cautioned him about the adverse weather. Randy responded confidently, "If I can't handle it, I'll come back and fly west or go someplace else." Randy then arranged for the boarding of his passengers, along with their luggage, into the heart of his aircraft. Patsy was positioned directly behind the pilot. With a quiet resolve, they took to the skies at 2 p.m. Central Time, embarking on their journey without the formalities of a flight plan. And that, my fellow time travelers and strange historians, concludes part 1 of the true story of the tragic last days of Patsy Cline, Cowboy Copas, Hawkshaw Hawkins, and their pilot Randy Hughes. Kindly remember to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And please watch the rest of this series. Please check out the links below to learn how to support my research and productions. Specifically, I'd really appreciate it if you could become a member of my channel and or join me on Patreon. You could also leave a super thanks in the comments below. There's also a donation link that will further help me produce productions like these. Kindly be kind to all non-human animals and please don't eat them. They don't like that. And please do yourself a favor and go to a local shelter and adopt a cat or a dog or both. You and they will be very glad that you did. Until next time, I wish you safe travels on all your journeys.